and the Son of thine handmaid. Loose my bonds.
I will offer to thee the sacrifice of thanksgiving, and will call upon the name of the Lord.
I will pay my vows unto the Lord now, in the presence of all his people, in the courts of the Lord's house, in the midst of the old Jerusalem. Praise ye the Lord.
And Lord, have mercy to the hearers, readers, and those following the words of this word. As we lift our hands, dear most gracious and heavenly Father, we come before you today. And Lord, we want to thank you for allowing us to be here on today to pray. Lord, we first and foremost want to ask that you would wash us, cleanse us, and forgive us of all of our sins known and unknown. Lord, we want to thank you for allowing us to be here. And Lord, we ask that you would lead and guide our teacher. Lord, we ask that you would lead and guide our teacher so that he would be able to speak the words of life. Lord, we ask that everyone that is here on today would be able to glean and receive something from you. Lord, we ask that whatever we receive will be put into our hearts. And Lord, we ask that the devil will take it away. Lord, we ask that we would keep it so that when we go in and come out, we will have the word of God in our hands. And Lord, we want to thank you for allowing us all to be on today. And Lord, we ask that even for those who had the mind to be here, Lord, we ask those that are coming in that you would bless them as well. And Lord, we ask that you would continue to lead us in your hands. In the name of Jesus, we do pray. Amen. Service of prayer.
Sister Ernestine, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling fine, Bishop.
You are?
Yes, sir. Feel like holding on.
All right.
What do you see?
I thought today, since I knew we'd be few in number for various reasons, something else is going on somewhere else. But we're here, so I know how to be abound and be a base. So, but what I'm going to do today, and of course, talking about I think today we will just use, just to review a number, I think today we will use the theme for the General Assembly. I think we use that today. I think we do today. What was the theme for the GA, Sister Ernestine?
That's
gonna be over there in, 2 Timothy 2 and 20.
Second Timothy 2:20.
Second Timothy 2 and 20. Okay. Right here. Did it there. Okay. Integrate house. Ordinarily, oh, I'm sorry. 2 Timothy 2, but a great house. That'll work, won't it? Theme from the GA. Theme from the GA. So we're going to start with this first hero. In a great house. A great, El Quantabum, a great house could be what? Give me an example of what a great house could be.
A great house could be as referring to our organization, our
Let's start from the natural point first.
natural point. It's a house with many rooms, with large, roomy, spacious.
I guess you don't have in his rooms ever living in one, so Sister Johnson?
The White House.
No, she's not planning on either.
A mansion.
Excuse me.
Great house, a great house to be a. Great house to be a. What would you call a kitchen that was big and had everything in it, Sister Johnson?
Willie.
Chef's kitchen.
Chefs,
Yes.
kitchen, chefs.
Great house would have a chef's kitchen. A great house would have fully equipped bathroom for every bedroom. It's a mansion, isn't it?
That's what you said, Gary.
I was just reading yesterday, day before yesterday, might have been yesterday. You know, when you go on the internet and what do you call that where you go on the internet and all the news and all the gossip stuff is there? What do you call it?
What's that first?
Okay, you all got one when you turn your computer on, so what do you call it?
News page.
What is it?
Page of news, I thought.
I just turned on because it got all the news, all the gossip. What do you call it? As soon as you turn your computer on,
Yes, on there.
you all have it. Now you act like you don't have it.
No, not,
We don't know
I
what
just
it's
don't
called.
see it like
I
that.
don't know what it's called.
Oh, maybe you just soon as you turn your computer on, and you do whatever you do now, don't ask me that, because you know I'm not a computer person. And then, and then there's all the news and the gossip and everything, and you just go down, 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 got everything on it. What do you call it?
I'd be like the home screen, homepage.
Okay, just call it,
It's like some homepage.
It's the news, Bishop. Google News, USA News,
yeah.
Yahoo News.
And then you talk about the gossip and the queen, what she did now. And then, you know, it's got everything. It's very interesting, isn't it?
There's lots of topics.
And you just keep on scrolling down. You get recipes and this and this and this. And every day there's just something different. You don't have one of them?
Yes. Not in one place.
You got a computer?
Yes, sir, but not in one place. Like Gary was saying, I have to go to a certain place. Like, for me, it's AOL. When I go on my AOL, it
Oh,
does
you
it.
got that. What do you have? You have AOL. What do you have? I got something. I don't even know what it
When
is.
when the computer comes up, when you click on it, then you have all the news.
Oh, I have everything. I click on it. I don't know what you call it.
They call it pop-ups, Bishop, different pop-ups.
Oh, yeah, this got recipes, gossips, movie stars, who died, who's living. It's got everything.
All kind of junk.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. It's very interesting. And,
Yes, it is.
yeah, it changes each day, too. Y'all don't have one of them?
Yes, sir.
I thought you did. Oh, you can go ahead and say yes. I'm not going to criticize you.
I mean, it's on the computer.
What I was going to say was this, in reference to what I have on the board. I turned it on every day, either in the evening or whatever. I think it was yesterday, Friday, whatever. And it come up about Michael Jackson's mother. So if you turned it on yesterday or the day before, it was on there. Come up about Michael Jackson's mother, and about, I think it was yesterday. Yesterday before I came out to the dinner and talk about Michael Jackson's kids, you know, all his kids, you know, of course they're all grown now. And it was talking about, she was living in this mansion. She was living in this mansion, and then all the kids are grown now, so they all moved out, you know, got their own, doing their own thing now. And so she didn't want to live in that big old mansion any longer. Now, I don't know whether it was said it was Michael's house. No, it wasn't his house, it was her mansion. But it was a great house. And the value of it, did you see what the value of it was? Oh, like so many million. Yeah. So she decided to move out and sell and move out after all the kids moved out. So she was living in a great house. Then it was talking about what it was like, you know. But it was just too much for her. So she sold it, but she made a killing when she sold it too. A great house. So and it told about how many bedrooms it had, you know, and of course, you know, every bedroom was full, complete bath. And then I went into Dave Robinson's house one time, and he didn't have a great house, but he had a big house. And I think Brother Marcus, these exercise equipment companies provided everything for him as a commercial, not a commercial. So when you go in his house, I don't know whether he's still in his house or not, but when you go down to the lower level, you think you're in a gym. And it had every piece of exercise equipment there was, and I think some company just gave it to him as a yeah. You look down in there and all that shiny stuff. I said, ooh, I ain't even go down there. It was looked like a gym. And fully equipped. So a great house, you're going to have that. Great house, probably have your own private pool. You're just going to have everything. Right? So that's and a great house, as you said, is called a mansion. And Michael Jackson's mom, she had that mansion. She just sold it recently because it's too much for her, and she's getting old now. So, and she sold it for a whopping whole lot of money too. Got anything you want to say about that, Tam?
Nothing.
Really? What do you think?
It's in heaven.
Well, you know, she just saw that house was too big. You know, you think you would like to live in a great house, but it can be too big. A house can be too big.
Yes.
It can be too big. I have 3 bedrooms upstairs. And I don't ever go up there until the saints come for watch night, march, and a couple of other meetings. And I just close all the doors,
Yes.
close all the vents. I don't go up there for nothing until company comes. And then the day before, if it's wintertime, then the day before, you know what I do? Open all the doors, because the bed is cold, the sheets are cold, everything's cold. Let it get warm so when they come, the place is warm. Then when they leave, this time, recently, Rhonda, she come over there, and when they leave, she changed. Well, I tell them, no matter who's there, most of all the brothers anyway, you know. And I tell them before they leave, now throw all them sheets over the rail, throw them down here, because I ain't coming up there. They throw all them sheets over, so we put them in the washer, put them in the dryer, fold them up, take them back up there. Done. Happy hunting, come back next year or whatever it is, but I tell them I ain't making your beds, you make your own bed, change your own sheet. You ought to be glad you got a place to stay, I ain't gonna take it. I said, but you're welcome. So a great house is more than you think you need.
Yeah.
So Sister Ringo, how about what size house you think you'd like to have? Just in your imagination.
I don't know that I want a great.
Well, okay, Angel, here we go. You want more than an apartment.
Right, I do.
All right, you want more than an apartment. She needs help.
And I would like to
So she needs her own bedroom. She needs a house. Needs your own bedroom. About how many more rooms you think you need, Sister Angel? Before you have to have a maid.
A couple more so that when.
Before you have to have a maid, how many rooms you think you need?
3 bedrooms. So
3?
that saints coming out
Okay,
of
that's a
town.
normal size house, 3-bedroom house.
3.
And who's got 4 bedrooms? She got 4, I got 4. That's just 4 you have to clean. And sometimes I think I want an apartment, and then I said, I don't know about an apartment, but when you get older, you know, all you need is an apartment. You don't have to shovel snow, don't have to cut grass, just go in and out. But then when I got to seriously thinking about an apartment, over the years I bought all those paintings, you know. Every year when you go on a cruise, you buy a painting. Next year you go on a cruise, you buy another painting. I mean, these are genuine paintings, you know, but get another painting. So then I ran out of wall space. You know what that means? Nowhere to hang them. So I got plenty of paintings. And then when I got to thinking about moving to get me a downsizing, you know what I discovered, Sister Tam Scott? You don't know what I discovered? Tell us what I discovered.
What did you discover?
You tell us. I had nowhere to hang all that stuff.
You can always bring it to me.
I had so many. Well, but see, I got a lot of wall space. When I was going to move, first thing I thought, where am I going to put all these paintings? And we was buying one every year. They're genuine. They're worth money. But to get an apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment wouldn't give me enough wall space to hang all those paintings. So there you go. You 6 of one, half dozen of another. So in a great house, maybe more than you want now that we've gotten older, huh, Ernestine?
Yes, sir.
But, so then I thought, well, I need more than a one-bedroom apartment, one for me and one for company. Then I thought, well, maybe 2 bedrooms for saints, but they don't come that often. So, who needs a great house? That's just naturally speaking. So Miss Jackson, she sold it. I think it's 100-something million, or a lot of money. Big house. In a great house, there's many rooms. Called a great house a mansion. That's what you said. So Paul uses that example as a great house as, what do you think he was alluding to, Brother Bailey?
Great house, I think he was talking about the church or talking about.
Yeah. I think he's talking about the church. It's church. In a great house, naturally, there are many rooms. I have heard a lot of people in my life, sermons, and they were all wrong. And it's some of them out there now talking about it too. Recently I heard something on one preacher talking about it. Jesus said, in my Father's house are many mansions. And they all have preached. I mean, this is ever since I was in high school, just after I got out of high school. And the mansions were rooms. And I've heard these revelations, and other people just got blessed over them revelations. None of them right. You know, you'd be surprised what people get blessed over. In my Father's house are many mansions. We was in Arizona one year, Ross Collette, he preached. I mean, he really preached that night. It just, people just was in awe over that. And I was thinking, this ain't making sense. He was saying, in my Father's house are many rooms. And as if God had a house, a mansion, like Miss Jackson. God had a mansion because there's many rooms in a mansion. So I recently heard one preaching that same thing again. And I know he didn't hear that other message because that was way back in '69. In the Father's houses, many rooms. But when Jesus said, in my Father's house there are many mansions, the Father's house could not be one big mansion and a whole lot of rooms in the mansion. Or do you think it could be, Brother Gary?
No, it could not be.
I don't think so either. Because see, Jesus says, well then, Sister Tapscott, where was Jesus' Father's house? Have any idea? Okay. Brother Marcus, you have any idea where Jesus' Father's house could be? Well, you need a starting place. So where would you start to look for his Father's house?
Heaven.
Hmm?
Heaven.
Heaven? That's a good place. Yeah, just look up, Tap, you'll find it. He said, in my Father's house. But all these different sermons that I have heard over these many years, none of them had it right. In my Father's house are many mansions. The Father's house is heaven. He went on to say, I go away, and where was he going to, BJ? Yeah, going to heaven, to his Father's house. That's where he is now. To prepare a place for you. That where I am, you may be there also. So, the Father's house is heaven, and heaven is that holy city called, and the New Jerusalem. Now, when you look in your Dakes reference, if you have time, it's going to show you the measurements, possibly, of the holy city, New Jerusalem. And if I make no mistake, because it's been a while since I read the reference, anybody ever looked at that? The The measurements, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't mind that at all. The measurements is like from the East Coast to the Mississippi River. What did I say, Sister Small?
From the East Coast to the,
Where?
Mississippi River.
BJ, what did I say?
East Coast.
East Coast from the Mississippi River.
The what?
Mississippi River.
Little louder, sir.
From the East Coast from the Mississippi River.
To the Mississippi River. I didn't think it. From the East Coast to the Mississippi River. So, Brother Gary, in what direction would you be traveling if I started at the East Coast?
Southeast.
No, you'd be going west. If you start at the East Coast, say North, wherever on the East Coast, and you go to the Mississippi River, you're going to go west, right? Yes, right. So, looking at Dake's reference, while I'm running my mouth here,
Page 303.
where?
21, reference, chapter 21, verse,
What chapter?
chapter 21.
21 of Revelations?
Yes, sir.
Okay, look at Revelations 21.
Starting at,
By now, you should all have kind of run across that at least once. Good morning, Julian. Good morning, Sister McClurkin. How are you? How's little August today? August? Good morning, baby. He's looking over here. All right. Okay, Julian, we're looking at Revelations 21. We're in Revelation 21. I'm trying to remind them that there's some references there that says you that the distance from the East Coast to the Mississippi River is about how far? 1,000, 2,000? From coast to coast, 3,000 miles.
1,500 square miles.
1,500?
1,500 is a square mile.
What does the reference say? 1,500?
1,500 square.
From the East Coast to the Mississippi. Does it say that that's the distance of the city?
This is the city, verse 15.
It says 1,500.
If you, whoever has it, read it.
And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And that's the one that's referenced.
It's talking about the city,
City.
right?
Yeah.
City, holy city, New Jerusalem. And you know, I don't know how it's going to be, but John said he saw that city
Yeah.
ultimately coming down out of heaven.
Verse 2.
Read that.
And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
All right, and that's what Jesus is referring to over there in St. John 14 to 16. When he says, let not your heart be troubled.
14 and 1.
In my Father's house. In my Father's house. And now we know it's not a big mansion like Michael Jackson's mom, the building she just sold. We was talking about that, Julian. Did you pick that up?
No, sir.
It's on the internet, you know, the gossip page and all the news. It's on there. She just sold that mansion. And all Michael's kids are all grown. They're all out of there, so it was too much for her. She sold it for a bunch of money. So we talking a big mansion. So Jesus said, in my Father's house. Father's house is the holy city. And the circumference, the area, square foot area, what do you want to say, of the holy city is measures like from the East Coast to the Mississippi River. And probably from the Gulf of Mexico to the Canadian border. That's a big mansion. That's a big mansion. Jesus said that was his Father's house. All right? As I have told you before the others come in, I have heard preach ever since that the Father's house was a mansion and there's many rooms in it. Like Miss Jackson, that's not true. It's a holy city. The holy city. And if that's the holy city, I can understand why he said he was going away to prepare a place for the disciples. Because there's plenty of good room. In my Father's house are many mansions. Not many rooms, many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you otherwise. Now, the thing that's not puzzling me, but it's striking me, is John said, what, Julian? What did John say, Sister Johnson? What did John say, anybody?
I saw the holy city.
He said, I saw that city coming down out of heaven. Revelations.
Prepared. 21 and 2.
Read that.
And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven,
Yeah.
prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
So how's that going to be? Ask God. All I know, John said this huge city that is this certain measure. Brother Julian, what's the measurement of the city of Columbus, area-wise? Any idea? I don't either. But when you look all that up, every city they can tell you circumference of the measurement. This holy city is that big, and John said it's going to eventually come down out of heaven, and it's going to be on earth. He said, hey, God will be with us. So that's going to be something, isn't it? So you say now, how is that going to be? It also says that the whole earth is going to be changed. And how does he say it, Sister Johnson? You have any idea?
No, sir, I'm cheating, trying to.
Okay, well, ask Gary. How does he say it? Brother, anybody?
He said he saw a new earth.
Yeah, new heaven and a new earth. He said, I saw a new heaven. Just the other day, this week past, on that TV, on that internet, I go on there for all the news. And just I saw something where something happened, Brother Julian, you're going to tell us what it is. Something happened in Mexico. Well, but if you're working every day, you don't have time for all this stuff. But those of us who are not working, tell them, Sister Barbara.
I do know the circumference of,
If something happened this might have been this week. It was a volcano in Mexico.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, volcano, and it spewed out, you know. But John said he saw a new heaven. Glory to God. And a new earth. And Sister Ernestine, if John saw a new heaven and a new earth, what's going to happen? And we won't ever have any more what? No more floods. No more volcanoes. No more hurricanes. Why no more hurricanes, Brother Bailey?
Because the earth is cursed now because of what happened.
No more hurricanes because there's not going to be no more Atlantic Ocean, no more Pacific Ocean. You know why? Because oceans create hurricanes. That's why in the Atlantic Ocean they call them hurricanes. And the Pacific they call them what? Marcus? What do they call them in the Pacific? Sister Wrinkle. Gary. Typhoon. Typhoons in the Pacific. Which one is stronger, Brother Julian? Typhoons get stronger and bigger. This had one that just getting over one in Guam. And the reason why the typhoons are bigger because the Pacific is bigger. So you have more water and it gives that storm more time to brew and get bigger and bigger and bigger as it traverses, as it goes, you know. Whereas in the Atlantic, by the time it gets it going, it's already done struck Florida. As soon as it strikes land, it calms down, you know. They said there's one company working down there now, off the coast of North South Carolina. Yeah. So typhoons get bigger and more dangerous and have more water surface to travel, so the winds get stronger. But in the new earth, won't be any more typhoons. Won't be any more hurricanes. So, look up now. In case you're ready. If there won't be any more hurricanes and no more typhoons, why won't there be? There's not going to be any more Atlantic Ocean. No more Pacific Ocean, because large expanses, large bodies of water creates these hurricanes and typhoons. The wind goes traveling over the water, creates storms. So there ain't gonna be no more ocean and no more seas.
It says at the end of that 21 and verse 1, and no more sea.
Yeah. So it's going to change all this. A new heaven and a new earth, Sister Tab. Isn't that amazing? Now, don't ask me no questions, and I tell you no lie. I do not know. But all this that we're talking about, John said he saw it coming down out of heaven. And it's going to come down and be on earth. The holy city. And then it says, and we'll be with God and God with us. Did it say that? Something like that? Right? And the temple is going to come down and be with God, be on the earth. So it's going to be, the whole earth is going to be rejuvenated, remade, and be lakes and streams. Well, I wonder this, Brother Baby, do you think we're going to have a North Pole and a South Pole?
No.
Probably not, huh?
That's right. I don't think it'll happen.
Say, well, that's impossible. God can do anything. He made the one you're in now, didn't he?
That's right.
He said, let there be light,
Yes, he did.
and there was light. So I said all that. It's going to happen. The Father's house of many mansions, not rooms. Now, the Father's house is a great house. But the Father's house currently is not on earth. It will be when this new heaven, it comes down out of heaven. Right now, the Father's house and all these mansions are in the holy city. And Jesus said, I am going away, told the disciples, to prepare a place for you, that where I live, or where I am, you may be. I saw in Revelation that they have streets in the holy city right now. Did you ever read that, Marcus? No? Oh, you got a lot of reading to do then. They have streets in it. And Sister Hines.
Yes, sir.
And the streets are all cobblestone, aren't they? What are they?
They're made like transparent gold.
You could ask about that over lunch today. Streets are made of transparent gold. Julia,
Yes, sir.
well, the only thing we can say about transparent gold is what?
We've never seen it here.
We have never seen that kind of gold. But there's a kind of gold we haven't seen. I saw, once again, on that internet, I saw that recently they have discovered something about another gold of another color. You know, pop-ups, you know. They're always discovering something. Gold of another color. Not yellow gold. They got white gold, right? And we got yellow gold. Huh? Yeah. Did y'all know that the gold, the color of the yellow gold is dependent on the country it comes from, the ground they get it out of? Yeah. When I first went to Suriname, the gold that they get out of the hills back in the interior, it's a darker yellow than gold that we're used to. We're used to the ones that you wear around your neck. That's mostly Italian gold. They call it Italian gold. It's bright yellow. I don't know whether they get it from Italy or not, but the gold in Suriname is darker yellow. But gold, it's all yellow though. They got some white gold too, don't they?
Yes.
Don't they have white gold?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they do.
I never had it.
Now they claim now they found another gold is another color. That's what they claim. They're always finding something. So, but when we get to heaven, there's another gold. Transparent. So, Sister Casey, so you think they'll overlay all those cobblestones in heaven with all this gold? I doubt it. Transparent gold. The boulevards in heaven. And the Bible says, Revelation says something about a certain boulevard. When are they going to name it Gary Watson Boulevard? You know, if you do great works for God, I'm sure they'll put your name on one of them streets. Oh, Jesus. I am sure. Have y'all noticed that wherever you've been all over this country, you can always tell when you're mostly in a city where there's a lot of us.
Oh, yeah, I know, Martha, we got Martin Luther King.
Because you're going to have a Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Always.
You're everywhere you go. Right, Marcus? You know, Columbus is a hick town.
It is.
You know why, Sister Barbara?
No, why are we there?
We ain't got no Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Where is it at?
It's real short. Here, it's over there.
Can you find it?
It's short.
Some little alley.
No, it is.
But when you go to most of the big cities, because there's a lot of blacks there, you're going to find a Martin Luther King, and it's going to be a boulevard, not Martin Luther King Alley. Martin Luther King Boulevard, and it's in every big major city, and it didn't take long to give it name it either. And I remember it had to go to the city council, and they had to argue over whether or not they're going to name a street for Martin Luther King in Columbus. This was a hit town. What is Sister Ingle? Thank you. Where is it located now?
Off of Mount Vernon Avenue.
Where?
Mount Vernon Avenue, off of Mount Vernon Avenue.
Off of Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
And you know, and they should have named Mount Vernon Martin Luther King. But they didn't do that, did they?
We had it. It's about that big. For real.
Columbus is,
Big city.
if you travel a lot, we all have, Columbus is not a city where they have a habit of naming streets after people. There's only one Marconi Boulevard downtown, and Marconi Corner was somebody who was important in the city council way back when. But if you go to other big cities, they name them after this person, name one after that person, you know. Columbus, Broad Street, Main Street, 4th Avenue, 5th Street. But when you go to all these other big cities, Barbara Johnson Boulevard,
Yes, sir.
all that stuff. And as a result, I never really paid any attention to that until I first went to Germany. And that's a European thing. It's worldwide, but Columbus, no. You have to really be famous with it, but and it's going to be a little alley too. Y'all never pay no attention to that? Well, I noticed that when I first went to Germany. You could be in a little village in Germany. They got Mark Quaterbaum Street. Some little village over by Hahn someplace, but you'd be Mark Quaterbaum Street. Columbus, no. Right, Tab? But when you get to heaven, Tab Scott,
Yes, sir.
when you get to heaven, Tab, I saw over there in Daniel. Did you too, Julian? I saw it in Daniel. It says, Daniel said, that he that winneth many souls will have many stars in his crown. Y'all ever read that? Well, you got your work cut out for you today then. Daniel, you want to find it? I didn't think it was going to be many people here today because they had another meeting going on up in Bloomington, but I see you here, so I'm changing my direction. He that winneth many souls shall have many stars in his crown. Does he need help, Casey? Help him out over there. Help him out. August got his pencil. Give August time. Yeah, you Google it. That'll give it to you.
Daniel 12:3.
James?
Daniel.
Oh yeah, Daniel.
Daniel 12:3.
12, what does it say?
And they that be wise
They that be wise.
shall shine as the brightness of the firmament.
Yeah.
And they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever.
Mm-hmm. I'm probably going from a reference, but you see that? So you're working for notation for fame. So these big cities, they don't put your name on a boulevard if you're not noted for nothing. So one day Columbus will have Felicia Godboat Boulevard. That sounds like something, don't it? But when you get to heaven, they're going to have a street named after you, Ella Quaterbaum. Jesus Christ. Because they got streets in heaven. And they got a lot of streets in heaven. Because my mansion's going to be on one of them. Now, we've already discovered, Brother Julian, that the measurements of that holy city is from the east coast to the Mississippi River. That's how wide, and as wide as it is long, square. And that holy city is going to be moved out of heaven and brought down to earth. I don't know how God's going to do that, but you know God, he can do it. You know God, he's come up with some stuff. Y'all know that? It's not even our imagination. Not even in our imagination. But I have thought this, and I'm going to move on to what I have on my board. I have thought this. When I look, got your thinking cap on, Julian? When I look at all of these prehistoric, that's what we call them, prehistoric birds and prehistoric animals. And I do believe that all those creatures live because we found it and we reassembled them all of them, you know. They was in Lucifer's world. I don't think Lucifer was all that pretty myself. You don't know those big old animals that you see when we went to school, what you call them, dinosaurs and what else? Those animals didn't really exist. And the birds weren't beautiful, big old ugly looking birds. I don't think Lucifer had that much to talk about myself. But when God created the new Garden of Eden, everything he did, he looked at it, he said, that's good. When I compare this world that we live in, even though it's a wicked world, with the prehistoric world, I don't think that I wouldn't want to. There's some ugly looking creatures, big old animals. But the only biggest thing he left for us was an elephant. He left that. Probably to remind you of what was there then. Right, Marcus? Probably. So now we're going to move on. We're looking at a great house. Today we're talking about the theme from the GA. The theme, a great house. And a great house. So, we've already covered this. So this great house, Paul, now, y'all ready to move on? So when Paul mentioned a great house, not talking about Michael Jackson's mom mansions that she just sold. We already covered that before y'all got here. He's talking about a great house, and we think he's referring to what, Elder Quantabom?
The whole city.
You think so?
God's, sorry.
Take your time.
He's referring to the church.
Church?
Yes, sir.
To be sure, ask Bailey.
Yes, the church.
He said, yeah. He is talking to them about the church. He's calling the church a great house. But he could have been alluding to what?
The Holy City.
Could have been alluding to, because you really believed in that, didn't you? Talking about a great house. And he could have been alluding to the church. And when I woke up this morning, I was thinking about it before I got to moving. And I kind of went in my mind to Ephesians. You don't have to turn to, because you should already go there in your mind. Shouldn't you, Sister Green? And Paul could have, because she wrote them all, so he could have been alluding to Ephesians. And in Ephesians, you can go there in your mind. And in Ephesians, what does he do, Julian, in Ephesians, the 4th chapter? What does he do? Okay, I can come to you. Raise your hand when you're ready. And what does he do, Gary, in the 4th chapter? Oh, I see we're going to have to go to work this morning here now. Come on now.
Hallelujah.
Sister Engel?
Well, he talks about the gifts that would be in the church.
No, but that's true, but that's not where we're at now. Come, keep on going, keep working. You'll get it after a while.
I would say,
Well, I'm sorry. Compare that with one of them. Compare that with Timothy, and you'll come up with it.
well, in my mind, I think when he says the great house, he refers to the great house in Ephesians as the body.
No.
In Timothy, he talks about the great house and the vessels of honor and vessels of dishonor. And then in Ephesians, he mentioned these vessels like apostles and the apostles,
Prophets, pastors, teachers, right? Vessels of the, and they're all supposed to be in the church vessels of honor. and fit for the masses' use. And they're all supposed to be, and you should be one of them by now, Sister Tapscott, as long as you've been in there. And they're all supposed to be able to do what, Sister Tapscott?
They're supposed to be a vessel of honor to God.
They're also supposed to be able to do what?
Teach, preach, sing, whatever the Lord gives you to do.
Teach the rest of the saints and get
How long, Sister Tapscott?
I wish I could hear you. We're talking about the vessel.
That we all come in, all
The unity.
become vessels of honor.
Be in unity.
Because in a great house, naturally speaking, in a great house, you have many rooms, don't you? In a mansion, right? And you can compare rooms to saints. And in the pool of Bethesda, let's say it's the pool of Bethesda, great house, we have many saints. Rooms, some to honor, and some to dishonor. And all the saints that he mentions in Ephesians, that probably could be in the pool of Bethesda, they should be vessels of honor.
Yes.
What should we be, brethren and sisters? And most of us, as long as we've been here, we should be capable, say capable, of doing what? Bringing others, shaping, encouraging, teaching, and bringing others up to a certain level. So this work is cut out for you, Ernestine. And for how long? No? Let me see a hand. Sister Engel.
Till we all come into the unity of the faith.
Till we all. Sister Engel, look at all these other new people. Well, they're not here right now, but you got your work cut out for you. There's a young lady over there. See that young lady over there, Sister Engel? You know what you're supposed to be to that young lady?
Bringing her into the unity of the faith.
What?
Teaching her and bringing her into the unity of the faith.
To where you're supposed to be.
Yes, sir.
Till we all come into the unity of it. Not just the prophets and pastors, preachers and the teachers. Till all the rest of the vessels in this great house come into the unity of faith. Now, what were you going to say, Tam Scott?
You may not want to include this, but Paul used that vessels of honor and dishonor as metaphors. And then when we look at Ephesians, that's what he did in Timothy. But when we look at Ephesians, we see that he names the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, teachers, and preachers. But we have to have love and unity because it doesn't work if you don't have it.
Yeah, so you'll be ready to be called on Tuesday night or Friday night?
No, sister. He's working on it.
And Paul spoke about these different vessels in Hebrews. He spoke about these different vessels in Hebrews. Didn't he? And he says, some of these vessels, you're still on the meat. And not on the, you're still on the milk and not on the meat. Hebrews. Unskilled in the word. See if we can start there. Unskilled in the word. Every one of us who have not come to the point where we are skilled in the word, you're still on the milk. And by now, Paul says, you should all be preachers and teachers. And that means making room for more new people coming in who don't know the word yet. But still, we got people dodging Christian Ed. They come drifting in here about 11:45 or 12. Acting like I came to visit. So will you be ready Friday night?
Me? Yes, sir.
Okay, if I think the Spirit bring it back to me, I call it. Till we all come into the unity of the faith and of the knowledge. That's what it is, the knowledge of the Son of God. Okay, you ready to move on? Say, yeah, Bishop, you heard him get over that. We're going to get over that and go to something else then. I got something else now. All this stuff was coming to me while I was making up my mind whether I was going to make a pot of coffee or not. So I'm going back now over here to 2 Timothy. And there's one thing I want you to really pay attention to, Elder Watson. And all of you, start with 1 Timothy. Now, I want you to just speed read and scan down. And we're going to start with 1 Timothy. And just take your hand and carefully go down through there. And what we're looking for are names of people. You see, if Paul had been in 2023, don't be right calling my name out. I'm leaving this church. I'm going to sue you. You put my name out on yonder sign, folks. Paul named some of these people, and they were crooks. But you know, it's a different age now, ain't it? So, okay. Now, first thing I find, they designed to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say nor whereof they affirm. But we're going to go on down, and he's going to start naming people. I'm in 1 Timothy, 1st chapter, verse.
1 and 7. 1 and 7.
Where?
1 and 7. That's what it is. 1 and 20.
Verse 20. So let's read 19. Come on, Tab Scott, pay attention. We're going to read 19. Ready? Holding faith and a good conscience, which some, having put away concerning faith, have made shipwreck. Who are they? Brother Hymenaeus and Bishop Alex. Oh no, Elder Alex. Brother Alexander. Well, how are you going to say it? The man's name is here. Just a visitor? I mean, you can't come say I call this man. Name is right here in the Bible. Well, that is something, ain't it? And I didn't mean to say that at first until y'all got to snickering, and then you brought my attention. Whom I have, God, and these two people I have delivered unto Satan, that they may learn not to blaspheme. Oh, integrated. Now we're through talking about building. Now we're talking about the church now. A great house. So we're going to put under here the church. Is that what it is, Elder Quattlebaum? Elder Brother Bailey, is it the church? Where'd you go? Oh, Gary. Oh. Tab Scott, is it the church?
No, the blasphemy is going to hell. Church. All of the churches.
A great house. Is it the church? Sister Engel, is it the church?
The great house,
Yeah.
that's the church. It's the church.
Okay. And now we're going to ask, what's the first person's name? Who? H-Y-M?
Yes, sir.
Go on. E? Spell it, somebody.
A-E-S.
Okay, that's good. Another name?
Alexander.
Okay. We're not done yet. But when we get to both of these Timothys, he's going to name several people that have was in this great house, and they didn't do too well. didn't do too well. And if Paul was writing in 2023, I'll let you figure out for yourself whose name might be in there. See, this Bible, it will talk if you let it talk. So we got two guys' name up there, and they didn't do too well. What happened to them? They didn't do too well, did they? According to 19, they made shipwreck. Hymenaeus and Alexander, whom I have delivered into Satan, that they may learn not to blaspheme. Let me see. What did they do? Well, they made shipwreck, didn't they? So let's go on down to the next column. We're looking for more names. When these people do this, what they have done over in verse 20, verse 19 and 20, y'all see that? When you do that, you not only make shipwreck and harm yourself, you harm everybody who's in your ship. Did you see on the internet again, these people's on this airplane and the door come open? Did you see that? You know, if I'm the pastor, I'm the pilot of that plane. My door come open.
One of the passengers opened it. They opened it. He opened it.
Who opened it?
One of the passengers.
Yeah, somebody opened the door. When you open the door, you're endangering people's lives. If you're the pastor, you're endangering everybody's life who's in your ship, on your plane. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. All right, I'm looking for more names. But anyway, 1 Timothy 1 and 1 Timothy 3 and 2. 1 and 2. Let's start at 1. Ready? This is if a man he desire a good work. We had some in the General Assembly, and they didn't want it. One man didn't want it because his wife didn't want him to have it. You can raise your hand. You won't find his name in Timothy, but if she didn't want him to have it. Read 2, everybody. Okay, that's good. I'll go down to 8. Okay, these are. Okay, so what I'm going to do here now, since we're going to put 2 of these names up here. One is a bishop, and you know why I'm putting that name up there? Because that's over in Ephesians. Yeah. Now this one is not, but I'll just put it up there anyway. All of them different preachers and different kinds of people. Got that now? So now all of this list of people that are over in Ephesians, these people are found in a great house. A great house or a, Now we're going to change the word house to, going to change the word house to, look up here. You're going to change the word house to, I'm going to go deeper, Casey. What is that, Julian? I'm changing from the church to the CLGI. When we reduce it down to its lowest common denominator. You know, say, what's that? Did you have? Great house. But in a great house, you're going to find all kinds. You're going to have all kinds of people. The bigger the house is, the more people. Right? And but when it gets real big, you're just going to be doing some of everything. But Paul said you have to watch out for them. So what you want to name your church? Gary? I don't know what he's not here. Junior? We'll give you a church. We call it, what's your last name? McClurkin. McClurkin's Temple. All right. We're still in 4. Now let's go down to 5. Rebuke not an elder. This is the small e. And this is the tab, Scott. Do you think, have an idea why this would be a small e?
A small e here, where is it? In 5, verse 5?
5 and 1. We got a hand up in the back, Sister Tab.
Okay, but
She's getting impatient.
an elder, I got the wrong book.
That's what he said.
Sister Amal.
Why is the elder a small e?
E, little e.
In that one, yes, that you just read, 5 and 1.
5 and 1.
And Sister Mal.
Rebuke not an elder.
An older person. Someone who's elder.
Timothy was a young man, but he was full of the power. And so there were older people in the different churches, and when he comes in, he said, oh, you're just a youngster, what do you know? But he had the anointing. So he says, he's telling him how to teach and talk to older elders who may need some correction of whatever. What did she say? Oh, her age?
Yeah.
She's getting on up age.
I'm old, I'm sorry, I'm old.
Hey, welcome to the club. Hey, there's a commercial out. Sister Johnson,
Yes, sir.
have you seen that commercial lady? She's a black woman. She said, age is just a number. I said, boy, they like that commercial because they play her all the time. But my dad always said it too. We do it for fun. Daddy, how old are you? What difference does it make? Age is just a number. And then he said, oh, about this, about that. And then years later, I found out he was right. After I got to searching the ancestry.com, I said, Daddy, what month were you born in? Oh, around about December. And we get a big kick out of it. He was right. I said, Daddy, about what day in December? And he would tell us, and we would get a big kick out of that. And I found out he was right. Shut my mouth. And so now 5, he tells Timothy how to take care of these older men, how to handle them and respond to them. Honor widows, right? Now, what did Paul say about the young widows? He said they need to go, after maybe she lost her husband, or he got killed in war or something. He said, oh, you need to marry again because you're too young. You got too much fire, still got too much vigor. You need a husband. What do you think about that, Tim?
Nothing.
Hey, you know what the old saying is, don't you, Ernestine? What's the old saying? What's the old saying, Sister Small? You know what the old saying is, Sister Barbara? No, come on now. You ain't too old, you ain't too ashamed. I'm talking about getting married. So there's hope for you. If you ain't too ashamed, you ain't too old.
I ain't heard that.
You haven't? Oh, I haven't heard that before. Where y'all been? Hey, now y'all ain't going to heaven yet. I know you know that, but ain't too old if you ain't too ashamed. There's still hope. But make sure Tampa's got, make sure he's got a house big as Michael Jackson's mother, though. If he ain't got no money, it's no need to marry an old poor man. If an old poor man talk to you, you can't use that. You can do better by it. You done got old living off of your pension. You don't want to live off of yours and his. He's living off of your pension. You don't need that. You done worked for the state 20, 30 years so you can make it. Then here he comes. Maybe we can make it. So, do you have a pension? No, I don't have one. But keep on moving. Use that, can you, God, boo? You use up all your money, use up all your heat. Now, that's true. All right. We're going to move on down. I'm still on chapter 5. Then in the 11th verse, he talks about the young widows. See, there you are. Look at that. I haven't got there yet. I'll let you find out for yourself. Oh, he said there'll be busybodies too. Look at the 13th verse. But you're going to find all this, you see, you're going to find all kinds of saints in a great house with a lot of members. And that's why when you get a church with a lot of members, and in the church for believing God, you got a lot of members. You need people that are found in chapter 4 of Ephesians. Preachers and teachers that are going to teach the rest of the CLGI International. We need to do this, and we need to do that, and we need to do that. Right? So, but now Paul tells you now, when you're going around and when you're called on, he tells you how to preach to the older saints and how to preach to the older women, because he was a young man. Because if you get up and you're a young man, but you maybe have an anointing. Timothy had an anointing. Timothy had power, but Paul's telling him how to use his power. And Timothy was also known to be Paul's first assistant. And he's telling him how to handle this authority. His title and his anointing. You ever see that, Ella Watson?
Yes, sir.
Everybody get that?
Yes.
Timothy was young, and he was already had been appointed as Paul's assistant. And these two epistles telling my assistant how to carry this church on, because I'm going to be killed. Because if you don't do it in a certain way, when you die, they won't even come to your funeral. There's a whole lot of folks didn't come to Bishop Evans' funeral. You saw it too. Well, now Bishop Evans, she was known to get up and try to straighten them out. You know, and sometimes she'd be abrasive. Wouldn't she? Of course.
She was that way here.
You just don't want to say it, but of course.
She was that way here.
It was right here in the pulpit. And she'd light a fire on it sometime. And you know, it's just, you would probably say, well, she could have said it a better way. Well, you have a choice. But you say, the truth will set you free. And that's true, isn't it? But when you die, then when I come to your funeral. So what do you worry? would you be concerned about if they don't come to your funeral? If you just get on up and tell them the truth now and lay them out, and then let death take care of death?
That's right, that's right. You don't know that's right.
You may not like that, but you won't be here then, you'll be dead. There's a whole lot of folks ain't come to missionaries' funeral. They was mad at him. I know it is, but that's how it is. So what you need to do is you need to find how to put butter on your bread. Smooth it out. Choose your words. Let your words be seasoned with grace. And of course, now when you're dead, it doesn't matter. And if she told the truth, but they didn't show up. So I thought to myself, would it matter? I said, yes, to a degree. Just let your words be seasoned with grace. You do not want to do this. Say you got 4 girls and 4 boys. And your 4 girls and 4 boys are just sinners of all kind. And then get up and preach on everybody else's 4 girls and 4 boys. They are not going to come to your funeral. I am Tellingu with a capital T. You just have to learn how to say that in a certain way. Because folks say, he ought to preach his own kid. Look at him. Half of them ain't even here now. One of them in jail. Maybe, you know. And you may be, he probably went to jail for selling drugs in D.C. and California and Los Angeles at the same time. He was wrong as 2 left shoes. But you had to be careful how you say that. Because when you die, they'll not come to your funeral. As long as you make it to heaven, I can take care of it. A lot of times you can be, I'm just going to tell you like it TIS is. And you're probably telling the truth. But you better smooth that out. Okay. Smooth it out. You may be the truth. He may be wrong, she may be wrong, they be wrong, but how you say that?
The times must be a changing, Bishop, because the way she was then made me a better person. Amen. And she fussed all day long.
To some, yes. To some, no.
But we came up with, we came up under her.
Yes.
We knew her.
To some people, she was dripping with honey because she told the truth every time. Other folks, I ain't going that funeral. But everything Jesus said was right, and they killed a man. Everything he said was true, but they killed him. It's something, ain't it? Let me move on. Say, yeah, that's right, move on. See, you're doing it now. Because I got to get to this other chapter because I got some more names to put on the board. All right, I'm in 1 Timothy. I'm moving on over. Now, in 1 Timothy 6 and 20, he says, rebuke them all. Y'all see 6 and 20? You don't see that? It says, rebuke them all. You see 6 and 20? What book are y'all in? 1 Timothy. Oh, 5 and 20. Rebuke them all, that others may fear. Okay. Would you want to be the assistant to Paul when Paul died? No. Timothy said, man, you have left all this for me. Okay, I'm turning the page now, and I'm going over to 2 Timothy now. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Still looking for names.
Verse 15. Verse 15.
What chapter?
1.
1 or 9?
1.
1 and
15.
15?
Yes, sir.
This thou knowest, that all they which are in Asia be turned away from me, of whom is Pygellus and Hermogenes. Let's just call him Pi. And Hermo. All right. Look at the names that he mentions. You're talking about calling my name out. Okay, and how about 2 and 17? Two more, ain't it? Hymenaeus and Philet. Hymen. And that's not right. We got a bunch of names. Did you know all these names are over there?
Yes, sir.
And he doesn't speak well of them either.
No.
And I know there's another one. I can't find it, but I won't put his name down because Demas. Demas.
He's in 4 and 10.
Got another one?
Demas is in 4 and 10.
And you find another name?
No, I said Demas is in 4
Okay, now this Demas, we got to stop here for a moment.
and 10.
Demas was up there with Timothy and Titus. And you're going to find him mentioned over there in Philemon. And you don't spare time, you can find it right now, good. You'll find him mentioned over there. And let's find what he says about Demas over in 2 Timothy. Demas was almost next to being an apostle. He was with Timothy and Paul and had an anointing, had power, casting out devils, laying hands on the sick, and he went back. So you can't go back now. I mean, you can be up there in your spiritual position in the church, and you can go back. Y'all know that, don't you? So when that happens to a brother or sister, have compassion on them, because it could be you. Is that right, Ty? If a brother fall, what did the Bible say about a brother if he fall? If a brother be overtaken, so ye which are, that means a sister too. You say, ye which are spiritual, that means you're that are strong like the ones over in Ephesians. Pray for such a one. Consider.
Restore such a one in the spirit.
And try to restore them, because consider yourself, because the same thing happened to them can happen to you. That's what it says. You're going to find that in Romans. Got it now? And we're still talking about all this in a great house. In this great house, we have now derived that this great house is what? And internationally speaking, it's what? But for me and you, it's the what? It happened right here in the POB. In the POB. So try to live the best you can, so when you die, somebody won't come to your funeral. Okay, I'm going to turn on over. I'm in 2 Timothy now. But I'm going to... Did you find Demas?
Yes.
Where is it found? Where? 4 and 10. Well, let me go. 4 and 10. See, what happened to the little brother? Oh, let's read. For Demas hath, having loved this
Present world.
and
Is departed unto Thessalonica.
Crescens, he went to Galatia, and Titus unto Dalmatia. Some of those were good. And he mentions Mark again. But Demas, now there's a reference on Demas I want you to see. Now all this, you can have all kinds of people in a big church. You find out all kinds of people in the church, a local church with a lot of members. B.
What's a minister?
B. Demas was once, oh, here it is. Y'all got it? Demas was once a minister and a fellow laborer with Paul. Colossians 4 and 14. Philemon 24. That's the letter he wrote to Onesimus. He had by this time grown cold in his experience with Christ and had gone back into the world again. Here it is clear to what extent he was backslidden. He loved this present world. According to 1 John, anyone who loves this world does not have the love of God. And you'll find that in Philemon. Let's turn to Philemon right quick. It's a little short book. Philemon comes before who else? Who? Hebrews? Okay. It comes before Hebrews. Yeah. There salute thee, Epaphras, my fellow prisoner in Christ Jesus. Marcus, your name is in here. Aristarchus, Demas, and the reference K says, it goes to Timothy. And he names Demas here as my fellow laborer. But he went back into the world. He went back into the world. And when you read both of these epistles, you just find so much sadness in Paul. Because he said, Timothy, they're all leaving me. Some left to go preach the gospel somewhere else. Some because of love, the cares of this world, they just went back into the world. And Paul said, they have gone back into the world. And you can imagine how he felt, and knowing he was going to be up for trial shortly. And he tells us that I won't be long, and I'm going to be killed. That's what he said, right? And so Nero beheaded Paul, the Roman emperor. He was beheaded. All right, look at all those names. Okay, now. So now, I want to go to 2 and 17. So the church was a great church then, wasn't it? But you can see what some of them was doing. Because, there were many. And many of them, Paul always took an entourage with him, you know. Anybody that was as great as he was, you had to have. Jesus not only, he had 12 disciples because he was training them, but they had to help him with all the people. If Jesus had helpers, that people would have stampeded him, trying to touch the hem of his garment. Wouldn't it? So, is what your ministry going to be when you get up there like that? And you have your prayer lines. Ushers be back there lollygagging around. Would you ushers get up here? These folks about to step on me. Would you come down here, ushers? I need your help. How about that, Herod? All right. Nevertheless, up to 2 and 19. Nevertheless, y'all read with me. The foundation of God standeth sure. No matter what all these other folks may do, the foundation of God standeth sure. having this seal, come on, the Lord knoweth them that are, some have gone here and some have gone there. Demons gone and this one is gone and left. And there was another man who came to Rome, called himself, and he was one of Paul's workers. And when he gets to Rome, he was preaching against Paul to make Paul look bad. Paul said, but however the gospel is preached. He said, some preach Christ for this. Who said that? And
Paul said that.
no, some of them said, preach Christ for this, and some of them preach Christ for that. He said, but however the gospel is preached. You haven't read that? Paul said it, and he said someone come to Rome and said it was preaching, and not in my defense, but against me.
Is that, 2 Timothy 4:14?
Read that.
Alexander the coppersmith did me much evil. The Lord reward him according to his work. Of whom be thou aware, for he hath greatly withstood my words. At my first.
Okay, we got it over here. Read it.
Philippians 1 and 15 says, some indeed preach Christ even
Read loud.
Some indeed preach Christ even of envy and strife, and some also of goodwill. The one that preached Christ with contention, not sincerely, supposing to add affliction to my bond.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted.
Philippians 1 and 15.
That goes along with that too. See that? So you know you can get them preaching, be chucking, throwing rocks. And those who know what you're talking about, I wonder who we're talking about now. Well, you know, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. All right. Now, last but not least, in a great house, I'm going back to 2 and 19, 2 Timothy 2 and 19. Now, I want you to do a little research and tell me what you think. Nevertheless, read, the foundation of God standeth sure, having this seal, the Lord knoweth them that are his. And let everyone that nameth the name of Christ depart from iniquity. Who is he talking about? Let's read on. But in a great house. What's a great house? A church, ain't it? There are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and of earth, and some to honor, and some to dishonor. If a man, therefore, purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified, and meet for the master's use. So when I was reading, I looked down at reference in Elder Watts. 7 things to purge self from. Affairs of this life, backslidings, unbelief, false doctrine, and destroyed faith, profane and vain babblings that lead to ungodliness, false teachers that overthrow faith, all iniquity and dishonor. He's talking about all these different kinds of people that turn out to nothing.
Yes.
When these people turn their back on the very gospel that they preached once, you don't want to go tracking up them, hiding them, making them. He done run up down the aisle with his microphone, telling the niggas, turn me up, turn me up. Run up down the aisle, laying hands on you, then he turn around and deny the faith, and he wants to be your best friend.
Not so.
Paul said you have to purge yourself from them because they turned away from the faith. That's what it said.
That's what it said.
That's what it says.
That's exactly what it said.
Now, and if you don't want to agree with me, I'm not going to be upset. Go home and read this again. Now, I'm going to bring this to you in the GA. Now, I know you're not going to like it, but you don't have to come to my funeral. You go read it and see what you get out of it.
That's exactly what it said.
Well, you know you're going to say it here. They go, oh, yeah, Harry going to say it. But Harry, tell them. Harry going to stand up for the truth.
That's what it said. You can be used. If you be used, pick it up with a backslider.
He said, man, he said, some of these folks have dogged me out. He said, now y'all telephone buddies? Well, you know, I know how they did, you know, but you know, so. Paul says, purge yourself.
Purge yourself. Come out.
Now, then I tell you what. Now, don't dodge me now and come back next Sunday. Right, Tam?
Yes, whatever you say.
Now, don't stay away next Sunday, because that's your sign. You see you tell me what you think Paul was saying when, if a man would purge himself from these things.
These things.
Okay?
Yes. That's all I'm
Julia, oh no, he's not here right now. Okay, and you read it now, and come back next week now, be on time now, okay? I ain't coming. Because in a great house, you got all kinds of people. And a great house means a lot of members, a lot of churches, big general assembly. Now, when you come into this general assembly, I think we're going to have more this year than we had last year. But you know what? We're going to have all kinds of people. There are some people who would just dying to show up because they just want to come to just get something off of their chest.
Yes, that's all.
Many vessels. They may corner you off some places, but I just want you to hear my side. Hey, he's entitled to that. But Paul said,
Purge.
he said because some of these names we put up here, they turned other folks away. Just look at all them people up there. And look at all these folks that made shipwreck. Now, if you have made shipwreck of your ministry, don't corner me off and try to let me hear your side. Pick your ministry back up first.
That's right.
And God is able to forgive you. Bishop White is there. You know, I will forgive a dog if he bite me.
Yes, you will.
Just don't put no marks on me.
You got that right.
And I love everybody. When you're right, you're right. And when you're wrong, you're wrong. That's all there is to it. And then what you know, what I tell everybody, okay, pick up the slack. Try it all over again. Run for your life. Try it again. Say, well, but don't tell me now, but you know, they did this, they did that. We're going to let all that go. Because God forgives everybody. And I know they treated you bad. So we're just going to look over that. Come on back and try it one more time. Do I do that? Try one more time. There are some people who would love to come to the General Assembly because they said, I want somebody to hear my side. That's what Paul is saying. I just want you to come to my funeral. Not really, no. Okay.